Guys, is it possible for your hair loss to have progressed so much that it's simply past the point of no return? That there's literally nothing else you can do about it, and you're destined to just go bald? Well, that's exactly what the stylist and hairdresser for the royal family is claiming has happened to Prince William's hair. So let's read this article from the Express and see if she's right, see if he's truly past the point of no return, and there's actually nothing that can be done for his type of hairline. All right, so starting here, it says hairstylist Jo Hansford has been Queen Camilla's hairdresser for over 30 years. She advised her to go blonder years ago and helped her prepare for her wedding to the then Prince Charles in 2005. Hansford, who claimed she has a very special relationship with Camilla, talked about Prince William's hair loss and suggested that he should have gotten a hair transplant ages ago. All right, so if we scroll back up to this picture, I'd say that he's probably somewhere between a Norwood. It's probably beyond 5, so probably between a 6 and a 7 based on this hairline. So yeah, it's probably true that he should have gotten a hair transplant years ago. The way that hair transplants work is they take the live follicles from some other part of your head, typically the back of your head, and then they retransplant them to a part of your scalp that's balding. So the problem is that when you've receded and you've lost this much hair, that there's sometimes not enough hairs to cover all of your scalp that's been lost. So yeah, I mean, typically you want to get a hair transplant before it progresses to this extent. But let's continue on and see what else she has to say. The stylist commented that as the royals are in the public eye so much, if they have anything done, the public would make such a big deal about it, which could be the reason why Prince William has never gotten a hair transplant. I mean, honestly, a lot of people get hair transplants these days, and I don't think anyone cares, to be honest. Like, no one is, looking at you and being like, oh, he got a hair transplant, point a finger at him. No, nobody cares. I mean, tons of actors and even actresses get hair transplants sometimes. It's really common. I get he's in the public eye a lot, but I don't think anyone would really care if he got one or not. Let's continue here. The hairdresser opined, I really feel sorry for William because he had such a lovely head of hair, and he should have done this ages ago. Yeah, didn't we all? She added that if Prince William was her client, she would have advised him to do it as soon as he started to lose his hair. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with that. I think that if you are, for example, like a Norwood 1 or 2, you're probably not at the stage where you should be considering a hair transplant quite yet, because at that stage, medication like finasteride or minoxidil is typically really effective in bringing back whatever hair was lost at that stage. And even like natural solutions, natural vasodilators, microneedling, and other types of solutions can be very effective at Norwood 1 or 2. Now, as you progress to deeper and deeper hair loss, for sure, I mean, there's a point where a hair transplant is probably more effective, definitely quicker, and more guaranteed to work than any other kind of medication or other natural treatment. But at Norwood 1 or 2, you definitely shouldn't consider a hair transplant quite yet. So as soon as you start to lose your hair, doing something like that, I definitely disagree with that. But let's move on. She says, but of course, he can't do anything now because it's gone so far, Jo Hansford claimed. That's actually not true, right? I mean, even at this stage of hair loss, which, like I said, from this picture and the other one, definitely around a Norwood 6 to 7, you still can get a hair transplant, right? I mean, you wouldn't be able to get as much density in the parts of your scalp that you lost as compared to someone who's gotten a hair transplant at Norwood 3 or 4. But you'll still be able to regain a lot of ground. Those hairs might be a little bit more vellus or thinner when you get a hair transplant, but it's still probably a better look than this. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you can't do that. Also, there's a type of hair transplant called body to hair transplant, BHT or BTH, whatever. It's basically taking vellus hairs from other parts of your body, like your legs or your arms, even your back and chest, and retransplanting those into your head, essentially. And one of the only issues with that is that those hairs typically don't grow that long. Like if you think about the hairs in your arm or your legs, they're not going to grow very long, right? And so it's going to be around 5 centimeters at the max. So as long as you don't mind having a shorter hairstyle, you can certainly transplant those hairs to, especially your hairline, right? Because your hairline hairs tend to be a little bit thinner anyway, so it kind of matches the appearance. But there's no reason why, even at this stage of hair loss, you shouldn't be able to get some kind of transplant and have some kind of success. But let's move on. Giannis John Zide, yeah, I'm butchering that, so let's just forget that. Giannis, managing director of Harley Street Hair Transplant Clinics, agreed and told Express that Prince William would look better and younger with a hair transplant. Yeah, like 99% of us do. He explained that the reason for his balding crown is male pattern baldness, androgenetic alopecia, which is passed to him genetically from his parents. The evidence is his father, King Charles. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely male pattern baldness. His hair loss would be classed on the Norwood scale of classification as 6 to 7. This means that he would most likely require a 2-stage hair transplant procedure in order to fill out the areas of hair loss, he commented. Okay. Giannis explained how the hair transplant would work. Because of the way hair transplants work, the hairs are taken from the donor area, which is the back and sides of the head, and these hairs are transplanted onto the areas of hair loss. Yep, like I just said. If he was to have a hair transplant, his hairline would have to be a high one, as there wouldn't be enough donor area hair to cover all of his hair loss and give it the density it needs. Yeah, but this is where you can do a part of your hair transplant from that donor area in the back of your head, and then do your hairline area, which is thinner anyways, with some of your body hairs. So you can kind of do a hybrid approach there, and that would work as well. The procedures he would require would potentially be a combination of FUT, follicular unit transplant, and FUE, hair transplant, in order to achieve the best possible results. Yeah, that probably is true. The expert added he would definitely also have to be on medication to help sustain his hair transplant and not lose any more hair. Yeah, so typically what happens is after your hair transplant, the doctor would prescribe you on finasteride at the very least. So that's 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, basically just to make sure that any of your transplanted hairs don't continue to recede and fall out over time. Same as the hairs that you had before. So let's move on here. Jonathan Andrew from the Hair Care Professionals Fudge commented on why Prince William has never gotten any hair procedure. From a perspective of the royal family, it doesn't matter what they do. They're always in the spotlight. Okay, who cares? Whatever choice William makes, he will always face criticism. Who cares about your hair loss? Like, I really don't. Like, what kind of criticism can you possibly get about your hair loss? I mean, that's not anything that you can control, right? I respect the fact that he hasn't caved under pressure and had a hair transplant. He feels confident enough to embrace his natural hair. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if that's his reasoning, then that's completely fine. To have a transplant is a big commitment. It's usually up to a year to see full results. Yep. So he would always be scrutinized in the public eye whilst his receding hairline grows back. I don't get that, but whatever. Realistically, as it's always genetic, hair transplants are a great option. They're extremely natural, and if I felt the need to have one, it would be the first thing I did, he opined. Yeah, so like I said, right, I mean, this guy's hair loss has progressed pretty far, so it's definitely between Norwood 6 and 7. It's not past the point of no return, though. He can still salvage his hair if he wants to. I mean, he can still regrow part of that hairline if he wants to. The question is, do you want to? And are you going to be criticized or scrutinized for that? It may be, but who really cares, right? I mean, it's just hair. It's not like he's made some extremely poor decision in politics and got scrutinized for that. It's completely out of his control. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that he is too far gone and he can't recover any of his hair left? Do you think that a hair transplant is a realistic option at this point? What other options would you recommend Prince William? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with this article? Yeah, I look forward to your thoughts here. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.